to include other Arab states, and ultimately, it can end the Arab-Israeli conflict once and for all.
Professor of Islamic Law at the University of California, Berkeley, thank you so much for coming on the program. Welcome to you. And first of all, since you are there in the US, how is this deal being seen there, especially since we are 7 weeks away from elections?
If we could assess how people's response to it, the street actually is completely ignoring it. The Palestinian activists and organizations responded to it, but everybody actually think that this is really connected to the electoral campaign. It is Trump trying to brush his credentials, having utter failure in dealing with COVID-19. The economy, which he was hoping to run on, is now in the rears. And as such, this agreement and the fanfare that he has put in the White House is directed really for his internal base to tell them that I have delivered. I delivered on the transfer of the embassy to Jerusalem. I delivered in support of Israel. And he said as much that I moved the embassy for the evangelical right. So this has to be understood in the context of Trump's electoral campaign. He's pulling all the stop for that purpose.
And if I can bring you now to the Palestinians, we've had the photos, the signing, the speeches. What happens now for the Palestinians?
Well, let's put it this way. Netanyahu is attempting to bypass the Palestinians. Palestinians are not going anywhere. There's 6.5 million inside historical Palestine. So in this sense, he could make an agreement with all the Arab countries combined, and that will not solve Israel's problem, which still has to contend with the Palestinians. As our response collectively, I think there has to be a complete re-examination of our political landscape. I think the rapprochement between Hamas and Fatah at this particular time is very important, but I think other segments of the Palestinian civil society, the diaspora, needs to come together in order to really plan for the next stage in continue to demand for justice, for end of the occupation, for the right of return for the Palestinians. We have a long road ahead of us, and I think that's the issues that have to be put at the table for the Palestinians themselves.
Hatem, on that long road, just to look at the comment from Bahrain's foreign minister, who said it's incumbent on us to bring about a just two-state solution to the Israel-Palestine conflict. Do you have confidence in this comment from an Arab leader?
I wouldn't hold my breath. He would have had consulted with the Palestinians before, one, signing such a deal, and second, speaking on such matters. I think for the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, and possibly Saudi Arabia as well, their concerns are far more onto their own regional consideration. They think that Israel is an ally for them in their possible continued confrontation or possible confrontation with Iran, but also they're trying to balance against the rising influence of Turkey in the region, and they think that they could play Israel as a tipping strategic balance to their own cards, knowing that they have failed in their war in Yemen, and also their siege of Qatar as well has been challenged, and we could also mention the dynamics in Libya. So for United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, and other Gulf states, this has nothing to do with the Palestinians at all. And their deal has to be understood in that context.
Thank you so much, Professor Hatem Bazian, for your time and your comments. We really appreciate it.